Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday. It's a beautiful, beautiful Sunday. And today I want to talk to you about a few books that I think are important for the community to read, or at least be aware of. And you probably already know some of these books. What you're looking at right now is my man purse. And my man purse has a handle and it's got wheels. So, I've been told that I'm a little too, conservative in some ways. But I decided, you know what? I'm going to jump on the metrosexual bandwagon. And I'm just going to get me a purse, a man purse. So, this is it, folks. This is my purse. And you know what's in my purse, in my man purse? Years and years and years and years and years and years. Look at all these things. Look at all these mind maps. Visual notes. Notes in the form of mind maps. I think I've got about, maybe 3,000 to 4,000 pages of mind map notes. So, I've got a few things to share. Number one, let me take you to the books. I love books. I love books. I hope you do too. Excuse my table. This is my art table, as you can see. There's paint on it, but it's all good, you know. We're going to talk about combating cult mind control. I've got both editions here. The author is Stephen Hassan. You might already know of him. If you don't, I highly, highly recommend that you get a copy. Especially if you are a Jehovah's Witness, an ex-Jehovah's Witness, a Mormon, a Seventh-day Adventist, a Scientologist, a Lutheran, a Catholic, Amish. You know what? If you're a living, breathing person, I would say that take a look at this, because even if you're not in a cult, even if you're not religious, you are still at risk. You can be. You can be. So, I'm going to lay this phone down for a second so that I can use my other hand to grab my mind map. Okay. So, this is what is called a mind map. Now, mind maps are really an easy way, and I think a fun way, to take notes on things that are important. This is my Power Boundaries mind map kit. And on here, as you can see, I've got just the outlines of a handful of books, including Combating Cult Mind Control, as you can see right here. The Idiot's Guide to Assertiveness, Your Perfect Right, Assertiveness and Equality, Lost Arts of War, Ancient Secrets of Strategy and Mind Control, Boundaries in Relationship, Mind Penetration by Ha Ha Lung, Mind Programming by Eldon Taylor, Anger Management for Dummies, Harvey Cleckley's checklist of psychopathy symptoms. I think everyone needs to be familiar with that checklist when dealing with any kind of institution, because unfortunately it is part of our human existence that there are people that are psychopaths, and they don't necessarily end up in jail. They're not out here being serial killers or rapists necessarily. A lot of these people have families, they go to work, they pay taxes, they wear suits and ties, they look like anyone else. And if you didn't know, you would never think of them as a psychopath. So that's something for another later video. The Art of Self-Defense, Inner Temple of Witchcraft. Yes, it's a witchcraft book. Don't get all excited. Don't get all excited. It's a lot more common sense than it is hokey pokey and, you know, new age crap. Anyway, I Can Read You Like a book on body language. The Body Language of Liars by Lillian Glass. Excellent book. You Can't Lie to Me. You Cannot Lie to Me by Janine Driver. And NLP Basics. But today we're going to just talk about combating cult mind control. Okay? And these are some of the notes I have on this. Let's see what I had. This was back, I did this back in 2014. So, yes, here we go. Cults, basically the gist of how cults work is a simple cookie cutter pattern. They use your imagination to tap into your childhood memories, which we all have them. This is a vast storehouse of power that can be used against you. And they create these hypnotic techniques. That's why when you look at churches and different religious institutions, what is it that they always call the leaders? Father, Reverend, Father God, Mother Mary. And it keeps people in an infantilized state. It keeps you in a childlike state emotionally, at least when it comes to spirituality. So, mind control is not evil, it is not good. It is like electricity, it's like money. It's all resting on the intention behind the person using it. So, the responsibility rests with the people using this. And you can use mind control on yourself. You can use it to control yourself. That's really what mind control is. It's controlling your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, and your feelings, and ultimately your actions and behavior. So the key here is your unconscious mind. That is the key to vulnerability to cults, whether they're religious cults, business cults like MLM, pyramid schemes, educational cults, self-improvement cults, life coaching, all of that junk. All of these guys and ladies are using your unconscious mind, and we all have that, so we are all vulnerable to it. I don't care how smart you think you are, or how convinced you are that you will never ever fall prey to any cult. The way that we are wired for survival. And unfortunately, some of that wiring, I'm going to go into that in another video called, by the way, called Seeking Wisdom and Mental Models. But for now, just understand that you are absolutely not invulnerable. Even if you've read Combating Cult Mind Control 100 times over again, it can still happen to you. You know, we all face different stressors in life, and different times we are weaker than other times. So that's something to look out for. All right. This here is talking about development in a healthy family. And the reason I have this mind mapped is because in a Jehovah's Witness family, we don't really have these things. What we have is shame. We have guilt. We are shamed for our differences. If we don't comply and do as everyone else does, then we are shamed. If we do as everyone else does, then we are codependent, because Jehovah's Witness mentality is all about enmeshment. Everyone's supposed to be looking out for each other and to see if anybody's sinning or doing anything wrong. And if they are doing something wrong, you have to go tell on them, right? So, it's not very healthy. Have a look at the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Google that sometime and take a look at what it says. Because this is how humans should be treating each other, with these things in mind. Everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. No one shall be subjected to arbitrary interference of privacy, family, home, nor attacks upon his honor and reputation. So elders, you sitting in the bushes, hiding and sneaking around, digging in people's trash, that's not cool. And it's not in line with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. There are 4 major things that cults use to indoctrinate or size you up when you first come in. If you have not been born into the Jehovah's Witness religion or the Seventh-day Adventist religion or whatever institution you've left or are thinking of leaving, then one or a combination of these 4 things was used on you to recruit you. Okay? So what they do is they size up the newcomer. How do they size them up? They categorize you either as a believer, a doer, a thinker, or a feeler. Believers are spiritually oriented. Doers are action oriented. They need to do things. They need action. They need things to do. So what do? They give you things to do. Intellectuals or thinkers, they like to think. They like to philosophize. They like to read and study. Feelers, emotions. So appeal to your emotions is used here. So remember, believers, doers, thinkers, feelers. The average person does not stand a chance when it comes to cults and mind control. The average person, that's you and me. Now, okay, I know that some people out there might say, well, I'm not average, I'm extraordinary, I'm above average. Okay, but you still have a human brain, which is wired a certain way. And if you're ignorant of mind control and how it works, the patterns, then you don't stand a chance. Hopefully, you'll never have to prove this wrong. But anyway, learning about cults takes strength, courage, and integrity. It does. It does. The first time I opened up combating cult mind control, I was scared. I was very scared. And I had left Jehovah's Witnesses many years ago already. But I was afraid of finding out just how bad things were. I knew things were really bad, but there are a lot of things that I'm still discovering and I'm still processing. So if you're watching this video, I want to thank you. I want to acknowledge your courage, because it takes courage, it takes strength. So mind control is a set of techniques that influences 3 major things: your thinking, your feeling, and ultimately your acting, your behavior. If they can get you to think a certain way, they can get you to feel a certain way. And if they can get you to feel a certain way, they can get you to reach in your pocket and give them all of your money, your time, your energy, your heart and soul, and maybe even your kids. So, once again, mind control is not good or bad. It's all in how it's used. By gaining knowledge, you gain power. You're taking back your power right now by looking at this video and other videos and other information like this. You are taking back your power because truth and love are stronger than lies. Always remember that. Truth and love are always stronger than lies. So, what kinds of cults are there? 4 major types. 4 major types. We've got the religious ones, obviously. Jehovah's Witness, Seventh-day Adventist, Mormons, Scientology. Let's do a roll call, right? We've got political cults. Nazism, for example. Donald Trump. No, just kidding. Maybe. I don't know. Hey, don't. Oh, okay. Let's move on. We've got commercial cults. MLMs, pyramid schemes, multi-level marketing. Okay? And this is my cat. She is chilling on Stephen Hassan's books. Say hi, Coco. She looked away. Well, anyway. And then we have the self-help cults, the self-improvement, psychotherapy, educational cults, New Age hype, and woo-woo. Now, before you get upset at me about that, I like New Age stuff. I really do. But I think 90% of it is just crap. There's a small portion of it that's, I think, has something, it's well worth spent reading or whatever. But a lot of this New Age crap is just nothing but cult propaganda. It's people trying to sell conspiracies and books and seminars and workshops, okay? That's the name of the game. It doesn't matter whether it's a religion or a political thing, or it's some kind of New Age thing, or somebody's telling you that you can be rich if you can just recruit 20 people under you and they can just get you residual checks. It's all going to have you end up at seminars that cost thousands of dollars, at hotels to get a peak experience, and to get you signed up for more expensive courses, DVDs, ebooks, and CDs, and seminars, and workshops, and what have you. Okay? That's the name of the game. And some of them are more complex and sophisticated than others. But these are the 4 points right here. Believers, doers, thinkers, and feelers. That's how you're sized up. And from there, the set of techniques that are used is thinking, feeling, and acting. If you can get someone to think differently, you can change their feelings. And if you can change their feelings, you can get them to think differently. These things work both ways. They are circular. If you can get someone to act different, you can get them to think different and to feel different. If you can get them to feel different, you can get them to think different and to act different. If you can get a person to just do one of these things differently, then you can get them to do the other two differently. That's how we're wired. That is how the brain is physically wired. And understanding that is going to help you to remain empowered. So when this is being done to you, and it will be done to you, advertisers, marketers, they do this all the time, let alone cults. So when this is done to you, knowing how the brain is wired and knowing this information now empowers you all that much more. This is from a book called The Lost Arts of War, Ancient Secrets to Strategy and Mind Control, Dr. Ha Lung. I don't really know about the author, to be honest. There is some question about the author, but there are bits and pieces that I took away from his book nonetheless. Hannibal's 6 movers: glory, blood, honor, love, sport. And these are the things that motivate people, basically. He lays out what motivates people, why people act the way they do. But one of the things that I really enjoyed about it is that he says no one can ever make us lose honor if left to ourselves. So, no religion, no watchtower, no governing body, nobody can make you lose honor, okay, if left to ourselves. So, this is a mind map on a book called Boundaries and Relationships by Charles M. Whitfield, MD. I'll make a video about this a little later and talk about that. But I think this is it as far as the Combating Cult Mind Control book. Now, I have another one here that I'd like to talk about. It's called Hope for Healing. People of the Lie, Hope for Healing, Human Evil by Scott Peck, MD. And this was an interesting book. It talks about evil and evil people. And we do have that issue with the Watchtower as far as covering up the child abuse, covering up the elderly abuse that's going on at Bethel. The elderly Bethel members, I've watched a video a few days ago about an ex-Bethelite talking about how these elderly Bethel members are basically neglected. There are no nurses, there's no nursing care. It's an infirmary, but it's really an old a nursing home with no nurses and really no proper medical staff and anyone to really supervise the ones that are demented or have Alzheimer's or get confused. So there's a lot of evil going on, not just in the Watchtower, but basically in people. And the gist of the book is right here. It is in evil people's nature to avoid self-examination or the light. And having said that, I think there is a bit of evil in everyone because sometimes it's hard to examine yourself. You know, sometimes there are things about ourselves, whether it's maybe you're spending too much. Maybe you've spent too much. Maybe you've bought 2 cups of Starbucks and you've bought that consistently for years now, and now you're looking at your account and you're saying, where's all the money going to? Well, you're not really letting yourself realize that, hey, I've been kind of splurging on the Starbucks and maybe I need to cut back. Well, no, maybe it's not true. Maybe I should just look away. It's all these little things, but then we've got institutions that have big things that they do not want to examine themselves on. And Watchtower is a perfect example of that. So basically, the gist of this book is people who are evil, he has determined that they don't believe in a higher power. So, I don't know if I fully agree with that, but I think what he is basically saying, and I don't want to upset any religious people, or I don't want to upset any atheists either. I think what he's saying is people who are narcissistic and who are psychopaths and who are evil, these people just don't feel, they don't have anything internally to answer to, if that makes sense. So I'm going to leave it at that, but I think it's a book well worth reading. So have at it. Now, this last book here for this video is called Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. And this is a good syntopic reading with combating cult mind control because it talks about the weapons of influence. There are 6 major weapons of influence that cults use and that advertisers, marketers, and even salespeople use. The first one is reciprocation, the old give and take. You walk into a car dealership, you're in the market for a car, but you're not going to buy necessarily today, and you're not necessarily going to buy anything from this dealership. The guy comes up to you and hands you a Coke or a coffee. He says, hey, could I get you something to drink? You say, sure. Boom. Now you are obligated. Now you are indebted. What do Jehovah's Witnesses do at the door? Can we just leave a brochure with you? Can we just leave this tract with you? Can we just leave this magazine with you? Their carts, all of that stuff is free, right? Free. Go ahead, take one. This is the good old reciprocation principle. It works every time, and it's quite powerful. Even if you know it's being done on you, it still works. Commitment and consistency. This is a weapon of influence used, and basically, once again, I'm going back to how the brain is wired. Our brains are wired to look for patterns and to remain consistent. We like familiarity. So once someone has gotten you to agree to something, they can get you to agree to it again, most likely. That's the idea behind this persuasion weapon of influence. A good example in this book is that there were some political canvassers going into the neighborhood, and they were knocking on doors, and they asked them to promise to put a political sign on their front yard within the next 2 weeks when they come back. So I think it was 70% of the people agreed. So when they came back 2 weeks later, they didn't have a small little sign like they first asked them to commit to. What they did have is these huge banners. But check this out. Most people still agreed to put these huge big signs in their yards. Why? Because of commitment and consistency influence. That force right there. Social proof. Truths are us. Social proof is being used all the time. If you look at certain products and they have celebrities and sports stars promoting them, that's social proof. That's social proof. What does Michael Jackson have to do with McDonald's French fries? Absolutely nothing. But if they're using his logo and if they're using his music, the French fries get sold, and a lot more than usual. That's social proof. When you come into a Kingdom Hall, once again, if you were recruited, what happened when you first came in? You were love-bombed. Everyone came up to you. Hi, how are you doing? New friend. You got hugs and kisses all around, and people supported you, and they were interested in you. Next, liking. You ever walk somewhere into the store, and the salesperson is unusually cool? And you find yourself really clicking with the person and liking that person? 9 times out of 10, that person is using a persuasion technique called liking. You see? And it's very simple. If you like the salesman, then the chances of you buying whatever that salesman is selling are higher than if you don't like him or her. Right? It just makes sense. Well, there are friendly thieves that work on that liking force a little too much. So, one of the things you can look out for is if you're somewhere and you're finding yourself liking someone a little too quickly and a little too much or a little more than usual, don't get all sentimental about it right away. Stop and think, what is going on here? Get a copy of this book and turn to this chapter and check it out. Authority, direct deference. This is a very, very big one that the Watchtower uses all the time. They use authority to get compliance. Have you heard of the Stanley Milgram experiment? Well, back in the 60s, they did an experiment, and they had these people shock another group of people that were on the other side of the wall. They had them hit a button, and so many volts of electricity would electrocute the person on the other side. Well, at least that's what they were told. It never really happened, but the other person had a microphone that they could scream into and tell the other person on the other side, shocking them to stop. Well, they also had someone with a white lab coat pretending to play a doctor. And the white lab coat had all but a few of these people go all the way to shocking the quote-unquote inmates to the point of death. Well, like I said, they weren't really shocked because it was an experiment, but the people doing the shocking did not know that. And it's really, really, really frightening. Check out Stanley Milgram experiment on YouTube if you haven't already. The last one is scarcity. Limited time offer. Hurry while supplies last. The end is going to be here any second now. We better get out there in field service. I'm sure you understand what that means, right? It's scarcity. In this case, scarcity of your life, right? Armageddon, that's a scarcity technique. It's fear, it's scarcity, and it's the scarcity on your existence. If you don't hurry up and preach, then there's a scarcity on your life. If you don't hurry up and order this, it might run out, and then you won't ever be able to order it again. So, 6 Weapons of Influence. Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. Excellent, excellent book. As you can see, I've highlighted quite a bit. I'm a highlighter. I like highlighting, you know. I thought I had a picture here of Jonestown. I don't know if you can really see this here. tidy rows of businesslike death. An aerial photo gives the evidence of orderliness with which Jonestowners went to their deaths. So, this is in the chapter of social proof. It says here, the second source of social evidence came from the reactions of the crowd itself. Given the conditions, I suspect what occurred was a large-scale instance of the pluralistic ignorance phenomenon that frequently infects onlookers at emergencies. Each Jonestowner looked to the actions of surrounding individuals to assess the situation, and finding seeming calm because everyone else too was surreptitiously assessing rather than reacting, quote-unquote, learned that patient turn-taking was the correct behavior. Patient turn-taking, which in this case was drinking the poison Kool-Aid. So, Jehovah's Witnesses, I think, are in this state right now. They're looking to each other for social proof, and I think the organization is creating an environment where finding seeming calm because everyone else too was surreptitiously assessing rather than reacting, they are learning that patient turn-taking is the correct behavior, which in this case, you know, who knows what the Jehovah's Witnesses are taking turns in now. I mean, it's just getting really strange. So, check out this book. If you're a Jehovah's Witness, this book here doesn't have anything on Jehovah's Witnesses. It doesn't even say the word Jehovah. So you can buy this book, you can read this book, you can check it out from the library. And you can even check out this older version, okay? If you're afraid of reading anything that talks about Jehovah's Witnesses, you can check out this older version by Stephen Hassan. It doesn't have anything on Jehovah's Witnesses in it, but the new one does. It has a few sections in there, and it has a lot more too. But as you can see, Sister Smith has highlighted Jehovah's Witnesses in this book, honey child. And look at that. It's right under Warren Jeffs, of all people. If you haven't heard of this fool, well, Stephen Hassan is going to educate you about him. So, psychology. Okay, Stephen Hassan, he is a therapist, a counselor. I have never used his counseling sessions, so I can't really attest to the quality or experience of it, but, you know, I think it's worth a try. Check out Stephen Hassan at Center at Freedom of Mind. Get that out of here. freedomofmind.com. His phone number, 617-396-4638. And I think this is going to wrap it up for now. And my next video on my book reviews will be on mental models. We're going to talk a little more about how the brain is wired and how it all fits together and how to empower yourself mentally and psychologically and intellectually so that you can have two legs to stand on when dealing with these Jehovah's Witnesses. All right, thanks for watching. See you later.